Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2022 Ford Maverick XLT with the FX4 package. And this is actually the Larry Schmiller Ford Lincoln and Provo's test drive vehicle. So we're actually going to be able to see how the Maverick drives, you know, going full throttle and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, a huge shout out to them. Link in the description down below to their inventory. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 22 around town, and then 29 on the highway, with power outputs being 250 horsepower and then 277 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of this Maverick XLT. First off, this one's finished in Area 51, which might be my favorite color on the new Maverick, still to be determined. But anyways, we've got the body lines on either side of the hood that kind of make it look like a mini F-150 hood. And then notice we actually get LED lights here even in the XLT package. We have the tow hooks here on the front end. Got your normal Ford logo, and then notice the whole front grille has been darkened to kind of make it look a little bit sportier. But yeah, there is the front end, and again, it looks super similar to the Bronco Sport. Look at that. And perfect, that one's finished in Area 51 too, so you guys can really see the similarity. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 25mm tires wrapped on 17-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then if you look at the design on the wheels themselves, first off, they're obviously all blacked out, but they kind of have that off-roader type look. Now here are the tires you get with the FX4 package. There's a quick look at the front suspension. And then just like the F-150, look how they do that to kind of make it look like a little fender flare, even though it's just the fender itself. XLT badge. Notice that the mirrors and the door handles and the trim around the windows and then the bed, all of that matches. And there's your full side view. And that bike, car, whatever that was, is extremely loud and farty sounding. But anyways, here is the rear. So you can see that whole setup. And then look, FX4 off-road. Now here is our key fob. Notice we got the Ford logo on the back and can flip that out like that. And yeah, that is the key fob also. Someone is driving my TRX. Interesting. But let's pop here into the bed. So you guys will notice that you do have to hold the tailgate. It does not have dampening. 1,422 pounds of payload. This one doesn't have the tow package, so it tows 2,000 pounds. And here's everything here in the bed. No liner or anything like that, but that's easy to add in after the fact. Decent amount of bed space though for being such a small little pickup truck ute thing, whatever you want to call it. Tailgate is not heavy at all, really. Now, finishing things up with the rest of the rear, we got Maverick stamped into the bed, all-wheel drive, and then you guys can see the oversized tail lights, and then the exhaust tip there on the bottom, or exhaust tip, the tow package. You know what, guys? You got to fire me at this point. I'm leaving that in the video because that was a funny mistake, but good gravy. Do I even know how to review vehicles anymore? Now popping here to the interior, they actually give you padding here. You're going to rest your arm. I love the orange accenting that. That looks really nice with the Area 51 if you ask me. And then coming to the seats, got the cloth seats. Notice we have the orange stitching all throughout, and popping in, you can actually fit adults back here comfortably. Like there's plenty of headroom, plenty of legroom. You do get a little 12 volt right there. That pulls down to be some armrests and some cup holders. Let's head to the front. Now going over the door panel here at the front, they do that same thing with the padding and then the color combination. Got blind spot monitoring for the mirror. And then here is the seats at the front. So again, full cloth here. Notice it's darker down below with the orange stitching. Got the manual seat adjustments. Got the pedals just down below. We've got all of our light controls up here. And then notice we got the orange on the venting, and then again that same coloration that's on the door panel. But anyways, there's one more look before we pop in. Do 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 do. Whoop. Everyone's like, Ben, those sound effects weren't needed, but I think they were. Now here is the steering wheel. So you can see that, again, since this is the XLT, they didn't do anything crazy material-wise. Pretty basic stuff, but I mean, super durable. And then also got the voice command phone controls over here. We've got the cruise control and volume controls on the other side. Turn signal stock. Got our windshield wiper stock, and well, that's all for the steering wheel. Now here's our center gauge cluster. We've got analog gauges on either side for the RPMs and for the speed, but notice that we've got this center screen which you can scroll through a few different menus, give you different bits of information. If you press the menu button, then it lets you go through all of the individual menus here for the Maverick. I think it looks pretty nice overall. And then we do have some different drive modes. So first off, we've got our normal, tow haul, slippery, mud ruts, sand, and then back to normal, and it goes in a full circle. But that's all for that. Now here's the infotainment system. First off, we're going to pop it into reverse. You can see the backup camera. It's got trajectory lines. They turn with the steering wheel. Then you've got that zoom function on the camera as well. And aside from that, we have the storage space next to the infotainment system. But yeah, response time is great. Obviously, this is a smaller version of what you have with Ford's infotainment system. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And also we have ambient lighting, which you can actually change the brightness. You can't change the color, but you can change the brightness, which it's better than nothing. But anyways, that's all for that. Also, military time. We've got our analog controls here for the radio, and then we've got the venting down below with the orange accenting. And then notice we got this for the climate controls, and then down below for the USBs, and then you can see all the storage space down here. And then more storage space with the cup holders. And then we've got our transmission selector. We've got that for the parking brake. Traction control, the drive modes, that's the auto hold, hill descent control, and then the auto stop start. And then more storage space right here. And then you can see here with the center console, definitely solid. And then we've got the good old glove box, and then you can see the material use here on the dash and then up above as well. It doesn't necessarily feel the nicest, but it looks very nice from a design perspective. And then not much happening up top. Got the sunglass holder and the rear glass is fixed. So yeah. So there's quite a bit of glare, so it's kind of hard to see, but again, XLT, and this one has the FX4 package, the receiver hitch that I called an exhaust tip because I don't know why, but anyways, total MSRP $28,535, and wait for it. There's the Maverick, and look, we got the Bronco Sport right there in the corner. That's actually a pretty cool shot. Maybe this will be the thumbnail. Look at that. I think that's thumbnail worthy. I can't talk. Let's take it out. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. There's visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors, they do have blind spot. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And dial shifter. Let's set off. We are setting off here in the Ford Maverick XLT. And we'll actually be able to get a real drive with the Maverick today, so I can give you guys better impressions with the new Maverick in terms of how it drives, and you know, whether or not you should look into purchasing one. Definitely feels super car-like. And something that's actually pretty interesting is I will be getting a Hyundai Santa Cruz next month, and so I'll be able to probably do a comparison between the two, which you guys will probably like. It's quick for a little pickup truck. It is pretty quick. Now this 8-speed isn't as good as the 10-speed. You guys know that from my Ford Bronco Sport reviews, but it's still a really solid transmission. It's, you know, responsive, it's relatively smooth, but again, the 10-speed that Ford has definitely just hits the spot a little bit more, just does a little bit of a better job from every aspect. And braking here feels great. We'll see how turn-in is. It really doesn't feel like I'm driving a truck. Feels, I mean, obviously it's not body and frame, it's unibody, and so it drives like a car, like an SUV, and yeah, definitely it just feels like that. It's kind of interesting, just how that is from a driving experience perspective. Like, I'm expecting, you know, just a lot more body roll, and it's just non-existent pretty much with this. It's so weird. But then obviously if you look behind you, you have a truck bed, which is, again, it's different. Who would have thought that, you know, after the Honda Ridgeline was released, that a few years later we'd live in a world where we have two more unibody trucks, right? We've got the Santa Cruz, and then we've got the Maverick now. But let's kind of see again, turn in here so I can kind of get a better feel for the body roll. Yeah, so car-like. So I guess I'll get into summing things up here with the Maverick. So first off, exterior aesthetics. Some people love it, some people don't. It just looks like a tiny Ford pickup truck to me. I wouldn't necessarily call it beautiful, but I mean, again, it just looks like a little pickup truck. So like, I don't know. I don't really have any, I guess I don't really have like a solid opinion on the appearance. Interior wise, you guys know I'm a huge fan of the interior. I just like what Ford's been doing. They kind of understand that, you know, people obviously you know, want something to be really competitive from a price point perspective, but they still want to feel like they're getting something nice. And so Ford has spent a lot of time, you can tell, designing the interiors so that even if they're not using the most expensive, most upscale materials, it still looks nice. Like, look at this dash compared to like any other vehicle in this segment, right? They're gonna have like an ugly design dash that's just not really gonna do anything for you. Whereas this, again, it's not necessarily the nicest materials, but it looks really nice. It's just pleasing. So I think Ford has nailed it from an interior perspective. The seats are comfortable in the XLT package, so that is all solid. And then from a driving perspective, it drives like an SUV, drives like a car. It's pretty quick. I mean, yeah, it's not that big of a vehicle, and so this 2.0 is more than enough power. And so yeah, it's a really cool vehicle. Again, I mentioned this in my first Maverick review, and I'll mention this again. I understand that some people are going to make fun of this because it's not a real truck, whatever. It's a vehicle that is under $30,000. It's got all-wheel drive, it's got a truck bed, you can tow with it, and it's got a really solid payload capacity. And so it's just a really practical vehicle. And I guess, like, if I was going to be buying a vehicle for under $30,000, I can't think of any other vehicle that I'd rather buy over this, because they're not going to be as practical. And like, again, the fuel economy of this isn't horrible. So like, you're getting so much. Like, think about this. You could get this or a Honda Civic for about the same amount of money. Which one are you going to take, right? And speaking of Bronco Sport, there's a Bronco Sport in front of us. That thing's more expensive than this, and I would rather have this over a Bronco Sport. I think the Bronco Sport looks cool, but this has the same engine and similar acceleration, but it's got a truck bed and it's less money somehow. I don't know. This thing is just, I think this thing's great. So yeah, that's the Maverick. That's how it drives. Glad we got to go full throttle in it. It was fun. Now let's get some things up for our video on this 2022 Ford Maverick XLT. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with the Maverick. Check out their inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.